All right, I'm here with Dr. Tom McCoy, who is a family physician, and we're going to be talking about insulin resistance today. So first of all, what exactly is insulin?
So insulin is an anabolic hormone, basically a building hormone that the cells in our body utilize to uptake glucose that we ingest in the form of food to build and store energy. So glycogen, protein synthesis, and fat storage.
Okay, so insulin's the storage hormone. It's helping to take sugar from our bloodstream into our cells.
Correct.
Now, what happens when our cells start to become resistant to that insulin signal?
So you can think of insulin resistance as essentially our body having to create and secrete more and more insulin to keep the same level of blood glucose.
Okay. And what is it that causes insulin resistance?
So there are a number of drivers for insulin resistance. The most common ones would be our increased consumption of ultra-processed foods, foods with a significant amount of added sugar, a lack of regular physical activity or exercise. In addition, one that people often don't think about, but a lack of regular quantity and quality of sleep, which causes elevations in cortisol, which directly affects the function of the insulin that we have.
Awesome. So how common is insulin resistance?
Well, the scary thing is that 1 in 3 Americans have prediabetes, and 84% of those individuals aren't even aware that they have it. So it's quite common.
Quite common, and actually really surprising how many people may be exercising regularly and eating generally well and still have some degree of insulin resistance.
Yeah, it's very concerning.
So how do I know if I have any insulin resistance?
Great question. So the most common tests that are used today in the clinical setting would be a fasting glucose level. In addition to that, a hemoglobin A1C level, which is an average of your blood glucose over the past 3 months, is something that your physician would commonly use to identify insulin resistance.
And then, is there anything else that I can do to monitor my blood sugar or look at my insulin resistance?
So using a continuous glucose monitor is something that's becoming more and more common. It can help identify and act as a surrogate if you're having these peaks and valleys of glucose that you may have some degree of insulin resistance and need to do more investigation with your physician.
Awesome. So let's say I identify that I have some degree of insulin resistance through one of these tests with my doctor. What do I do about it?
Yeah, so I think the first place to start is decreasing foods that are highly processed and foods that have added sugar. Eliminating sugar-sweetened beverages is really important. Incorporating a regular exercise regimen is something that all of us should be doing. Making sure that we're optimizing our sleep and getting enough quantity and quality of sleep. Those are all things that are vital to mitigating insulin resistance.
Absolutely, and I would just add to making sure that you're getting enough recovery and practicing something like mindfulness or some way of bringing in some parasympathetic tone into your daily practice.
Decreasing our overall stress level and thus our cortisol is key to our metabolic health, so I totally agree.
Awesome, Tom. So just to bring it home, insulin resistance is relatively common. A lot of people don't know that they have it, but there is a lot that we can do about it. So take the time, talk to your doctor about it, investigate whether you have some degree of insulin resistance, and then if you do, there's a lot of things that we can do with our lifestyle in order to reverse that before it becomes a problem like prediabetes or diabetes. So.
And this is something we've talked about a lot, taking ownership of your own health, working with your healthcare provider to identify where you are and build a plan to get where you want to be in the future. So I totally agree.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tom.
Thanks, Julie.